Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Welcome to Sephora.
I'm looking for a perfume that's not too perfumey.
I got you.
Serum moisturizer or moisturizer serum.
Let's get into layering.
My concealer is making me look worse?
Sounds like the wrong shade. Let's get you matched.
There's only one store that really gets what you're going for. Get beauty from people who get beauty. Only at Sephora.
Hi, Let's get you a basket.
In all my years of covering the NBA, I don't think I've had a report from the NBA, a press release from the NBA that is announcing that they're exploring a deal. There was not an announcement of a deal. We're announcing that we're talking about a future deal.
It seemed a lot more formal than it needed to be. It reminded me of the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where Larry and Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza on Seinfeld, got into an argument about setting a meeting to set the meeting. And does that meeting to set the meeting count as a meeting?
Let's have that meeting. Let's have that meeting.
We're having that meeting right now.
This is not a meeting about the show. This is a meeting about having a meeting.
And this is what we're doing here. But it was very formal. We had the FIBA president present for the proceedings, which never happens, right? On a State of the Union address. Like, oh, by the way, this guy's showing up here. Hey, come on over here, you know? And I feel like I walked away with just as many questions as I had after the press conference. I don't know if you felt the same way.
To be clear, it wasn't the president. It was the FIBA Secretary General, Andreas Zaklis.
Pardonnez-moi?
Exactly. Just want to get things right.
Here's the headline. NBA and FIBA to move forward on exploration of new professional men's basketball league in Europe. Two couches here. Move forward in exploration. That's 2 degrees away from a new basketball league.
Doing it, yeah. The exploration hasn't started yet. They're just moving forward on, you know what we should do? We should explore. We're setting the meeting for when the meeting is going to be set.
That's right.
What the NBA and FIBA have identified is an opportunity gap between the game's wide popularity and the degree to which it is currently commercialized across the continent of Europe. It's really popular over there, but we're not getting enough money from it. And if you'll remember the We Run Leagues episode, it wasn't about money. It was expanding the brand of the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
And what I thought was the game's popularity. But they're saying, no, the game's popularity is great, but the commercialization of it, we need to come in here and run this league and up that.
That's the beauty of being the NBA. Is you get to look over there and they say, hey, man, you like our basketball? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cute. If you like being a broke bitch, high-fiving people around the room. That's what they're doing. And to be fair, traditionally, Europe falls behind in terms of that part of it. Sports business is inherently primitive over there, sometimes by choice, sometimes by ignorance. And so the NBA gets to come in and say, here's how you make money. And oh, by the way, we're going to get a cut of all this. But this, guys, believe it or not, has nothing to do with the NBA.
Oh,
this is all about, we're basically now involved in a proxy war between FIBA Europe and the EuroLeague. You see, most people say, hey, what's the EuroLeague? Oh, you know, the Champions League in soccer, how the best teams across Europe, they play against each other. Yeah, it's like that. It is like that in execution. In ownership, however, Champions League is owned by UEFA, which is the governing body of European soccer or European football. Meanwhile, EuroLeague is not owned by FIBA Europe. EuroLeague is its own business entity that is basically the cahoots of all the big clubs in Europe. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Galatasaray, et cetera, right? Panathinaikos. They're all doing this because they keep more money amongst themselves than they would have to distribute if they played in the Champions League. Now, what FIBA Europe is trying to do is trying to launch a EuroLeague killer. We want something that's going to be more prestigious than our existing Champions League, that's going to come with the cosign of the bully from the other block, because the bully on this block is the EuroLeague. We get the cosign from that bully over there, who's not only going to give us the brand kind of shine or whatever, but also we're going to make money that the EuroLeague's not making either. And the craziest part about all this is all the EuroLeague clubs who you would think would be like, no, not this thing of ours, are kind of like, I'm listening. Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm. We talked about this in the We Run Leagues episode, right? About how EuroLeague licensed all of its business to IMG for whatever fee that IMG then sells against. If you're FIBA Europe, you're going to your big clubs and saying, hey, you want to pay someone else to do that? Or do you want it to come out on the back end over here where we're all making so much more money and the amount of money we have to give up is a lot more in line?
But isn't the cautionary steps of overemphasizing that it's not the meeting, that it's the meeting before the meeting to appease the existing European teams? So it doesn't come off as threatening, comes off as something potential?
Is it to appease them? Is it to entice them? I wouldn't say appease. It's not like, oh, sorry, guys, don't worry about us.
They're throwing the chum in the water a little bit.
Hey, like what you see over here? Can have a talk. Maybe we have a chat over here. And I think that's a chat that's worth having if you're FIBA Europe. This is what you want. You want to wrest control back of your continent. If you're the NBA, you're merely funding a venture that looks like it's going to be easy money coming back. But it's not, I don't think, a predecessor for NBA expansion in Europe. Quite the opposite. I think it's them kind of acknowledging having an NBA team here doesn't really work.
This is a great quote from Adam Silver. One of the things I'm fascinated in exploring is to the extent we have the ability to create a league from scratch. How would we do things different based on 79 years of learning in the NBA and based on decades of learning for FIBA? It's not just about running leagues, guys. Adam Silver, he inherited this league. He didn't get to design it. He's spending all this time tweaking it, adjusting the All-Star Game format, adding the in-season tournament. What if he got to build his own league from scratch that he could run?
Well, he did that. Maybe he didn't do that, but he was there when they did it, which is the WNBA. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, why does the WNBA have a hard cap? Why does the WNBA only the BRI is like 22% of it goes to the players and all of these weird rules and stuff? Why is that? Why? Because the lawyers saw what they did in the NBA and were like, we're not making that mistake twice. And they created a collective bargaining agreement that was 100% in line with what the NBA really wanted. So it's interesting because that was one of the questions. How will salary be capped and stuff like that? And they were like, we're going to try and introduce some of the stuff. Some of the stuff is going to be decidedly European. 40-minute quarters, normal three-point line. Goaltending is cool if it touches the rim. I'm going to tell you one thing that's not going to be business as usual, and it's just paying people whatever it is. It'll be interesting to see how they get around that, though, as far as the labor laws in Europe.
Yeah. Adam Silver went on Dan Patrick's show and was like, I really like the idea of 40-minute games. Yeah. And that went down in a ball of fire. It was people did not get on board with that. And they tried that a few years ago. What people forget is that in preseason 2014, something like that, the NBA did float and try out 40-minute games. And I think LeBron came out and was like, that was a terrible idea. A lot of players did not like that. And also the players union is not going to like that because that's fewer minutes for its constituents. But that's neither here nor there. They run leagues, and this is just another one that they're moving forward on. Exploring.
And maybe soon they can say we make leagues.
Right, from scratch.
They did, the BAL. This is another example of that.
Well, that's we make league.
Oh, that's right.
This is plural.
You got to get the multiple. You got to keep it going.
There it is. Now we make leagues.
My assignment. Uncover why the association inspires more conspiracy theories in volume and salience than any other U.S. sport.
So you've heard of the Illuminati.
The truth is out there, but so are lies.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
The NBA has always been controlled by about 8 people.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses.
If you're only using 10% of your brain, you don't even know that you're using 10% of your brain.
The NBA Illuminati.
If coincidences are just coincidences, why do they feel so contrived?
The Illuminati.
But you start to follow the money, and you don't know where the it's going to take you.
It is unspoken. They have influence among other players.
The NBA Illuminati.
I don't have time for your convenient ignorance.
Maybe I'm a conspiracist now as well.
That's all it took. Oh, we got books, we got schools. You saw a video on YouTube.
Why my eyes, sir? You've never used them before.
We are the Basketball Illuminati.
This is Basketball Illuminati. I am Tom Haberstroh, and as always, I am joined by the 5-star Illuminati generals, Amin Elhassan and Anthony Mays, our super producer.
Members of the Illumination can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/countthedings. You can also show your support by wearing a Third Eye hat or a Basketball Illuminati shirt or hoodie. Check out the link in the show notes or go to the Count the Dings store on Cotton Bureau and keep that third eye open.
We've got so much on the agenda today and a guest, Bam McMahon. He was banned by Mark Cuban at one point from coming into the arena because of some coverage at ESPN, but the name has stuck. Bam McMahon, Tim McMahon over at ESPN.com. He's got a new book out, The Wonder Boy, about Luka Doncic and the curse of greatness. Really interesting interview. We found out a couple things here on Basketball Illuminati that knocked Amin out of his seat. He fell backwards. It was like, what?
How much money some of these people are paying people is going to shock you.
And it just adds more layers to this Memphis Grizzlies situation. And the way that executives operate and move in the NBA is unreal sometimes. You thought that the Memphis Grizzlies deal was shocking, that they fired Taylor Jenkins. We've got more information coming up with Bam McMahon in this interview, and also more about the Luka Doncic trade right after this.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with a cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
Whether your business has 6 floors or 6 employees, Walmart Business has everything you need to save time, money, and hassle. You can restock your break room with bulk ordering or bulk up your ordering team with shared payments. And you can get it all delivered straight to your business's door, whether that's on Wall Street or Main Street. Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
You all think I'm late. Well, I'm not late. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause. Even if this room gets filled with lies like these. And the Taylors and all their armies come marching into this place. Somebody will listen to me.
There's no better way to overpower a trickle of doubt than with a flood of naked truth.
But the complexity and the gray lie not in the truth, but what you do with the truth once you have it.
What is true and right is true and right for all.
You and I both know that that's just not the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Too messy. Keeps them up nights.
I'm here because in the end, the truth is worth the risk.
Speak a little truth and people lose their minds.
I'm a grown man. You can tell me the truth.
Why is it people who want the truth never believe it when they hear it?
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something really outrageous. I'm going to tell the truth.
I'm on to you, man. I'm on to you. I'm on to you.
On the what?
This whole book tour that you're doing for Wonder Boy, The Wonder Boy, I should say, your new book on Luka Doncic, The Curse of Greatness, or what have you, behind your backdrop. If you're not watching us on YouTube or watching this show, he's got not just one book cover behind him as his podcast backdrop. Are there several? Are those like bindings of your book there too?
There's a smaller one up there.
No. Just the one here. And then we had a launch party. My wife had these big old things.
Oh.
There were balloons attached. The balloons are gone, but it, like a photo op thing. I said, you know what? I think I can make some use of that as a podcast background. So,
I thought that was the original size of the book. I thought you were going for a coffee table experience, full page spread.
Coffee book size, yes.
Perfect.
Oh, so there was a launch party, huh?
You guys weren't invited.
Yeah, you guys got lost in the mail.
See, I'm on to you, Tim, because everyone's saying, man, I feel bad for Tim. He just wrote this amazing book, Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. What's a bigger fan base than the Dallas Mavericks fan base? It's the Lakers fan base.
I didn't realize that.
I think you might have been in cahoots on this trade to try to go on this book tour and have a larger LA, California audience, global audience.
The funny thing is, there are internet weirdos who have actually accused me of that.
You're talking to one of them.
Yeah, like Tom.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I sent that little army. I got a bunch of paid minions to go out there to just troll you about that.
These two thumbs that are real quick on the mute button. Boom, 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 boom. And off they go into Never Never Land.
He's Ban McMahon. He's the baddest dude in all the land. You got Texas blood as thick as mud. He's Ban McMahon. Yeah.
Howdy, partners.
Well, take us through. You obviously pitched this book, or someone pitched it, and you were like, yeah, I'll do that book. That sounds great. You're going to publishers, you're going to whomever, editors and stuff. When did the thought of, hey, wait a minute, what if he gets traded? When did that first thought happen? Was it the night of the trade, or was it before that where you realized, wait, there might be a whole epilogue or final chapter I have to write, which you did, for this book about when he gets traded?
So kind of the premise of the book is the pressure on a franchise when you draft a prodigy through the prism of Luke and the Dallas Mavericks. So as I'm starting this project in 2022, coming off of especially them losing Jalen Brunson for nothing in free agency, the KP trade had gone kaput. There was definitely a thought of, hey, this could end with Luka being traded. And the thought was the Mavericks are going to have a hard time after all these missteps successfully managing to build a contender around him. And if they don't do that, naturally, whether he wants to or not, the guy might need to kind of look around and say, sheesh, can I win here? Do I need to, ask out? They managed to build a contender successfully. I felt like, okay, that fear has been eliminated. They just went to the finals. The guy averaged 34, 10, and 9, MVP candidate, had a great playoff run, did some stuff that had never been done in history before. So, I didn't anticipate that there would be a trade because the Mavericks decided to dump him months after the finals. And I knew how frustrated they were with some of the conditioning stuff and those sort of things. I was still completely flabbergasted. I'd even had somebody say, if we got to trade him, we will. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you will, bud. Because you hear people all the time that are huffing and puffing. And they're just venting. And I thought that was the case. Like, okay, sure, you guys will. So it happens February 1st. I actually went back and looked recently. Obviously, trade goes down. I got to do a ton of reporting. Right before we started recording the Hoop Collective that night, which is about like 90 minutes after the trade, I sent like a 2-sentence email to the people of the publishing company and my book agent, basically saying, hey, we got to meet ASAP. things have changed. And I did write a final chapter. Now, there were a lot of books that were already printed. So the people that get those early editions that don't have the final chapter explaining what the hell went haywire this year and how the trade went down and kind of the immediate aftermath of that. There is a link you can find, on my Twitter account where proof of purchase, boom, you get that thing sent to you via PDF. I'm hoping the vast majority of the books that end up out there will have it because that means I've sold a good amount of books. But to your point, look, it's not hard to generate publicity right now around a Luka book. I mean, that's the simple fact of the matter. This was the most shocking trade in NBA history, and they didn't send him to Siberia. My understanding is those Lakers of Los Angeles do have a fairly large fan base, both in LA, maybe even some folks still left in their original homeland in Minnesota and around the world. So for the business of book selling, it's been a gift.
Yeah, it sure has.
For Mavericks fans, it's been an absolutely excruciating, gut-wrenching experience. And, I understand the frustration of the franchise. I understand why they made the trade, their reasoning for it. And I still am having a hard time, what are we, almost 2 months later, wrapping my head around this whole thing.
Ben, let me ask you a question. All the reasoning that they've come out with, it just feels incomplete. They make sense, but it just feels incomplete, like there's another piece of information that they're not telling us for whatever reason. You don't even have to tell me what that information is. Can you confirm there's more to it than what they've said?
Well, and I really have reported from every angle that I can on this. And I think, look, people are getting sick and tired of hearing me talk about Luka's conditioning. I've been reporting on it for years. That absolutely was a factor in this. Didn't prevent him from being a 5-time first-team All-NBA selection by, before he turned 26 years old, but it was a factor in all this. And the fear, or related fear, of giving him a supermax was a huge factor in this. I think that is poor logic. I think it's an extremely flawed logic, but it was a factor in this. So was the fraying of the relationships. And these things are all kind of intertwined. Mm-hmm. But the fraying of the relationships specifically between Nico and not just Luka, but Luka's, camp or whatever you want to call it. And, things that started with like the firing of Casey Smith in August 2023, something that when it happened, it was shocking. And I thought it was going to be a huge deal.
Give the people understanding of what Casey Smith means, not just to Luka, but to the franchise.
Right. So Casey Smith is, I would argue, probably the most respected person in NBA athletic training circles. If he's not number one on the list, it is very, very short before you get to his name. Was with the Suns training group when, that was like the best in the league, and then had been with the Mavericks for 20 years. And, it was running the whole thing. He was an executive, but he's still front row on the bench for 2 decades. Is one of Dirk Nowitzki's very best friends in the world, was a right-hand man for Jason Kidd. Luka absolutely loved him. Was hired after having to sit out a year while collecting the check from the Mavericks. Was hired by Jalen Brunson's New York Knicks. That's not a coincidence. And this was a guy who, to say he led their health and performance group is drastically understating his importance in Dallas. Was a huge part of the cultural fabric. I told you, that tight with Dirk. Like Dirk, when he would go out to dinner on the road, would turn to Casey and say, hey, is this order cool? Counting calories. That's how much they were kind of tied at the hip. But also, specifically with Luka, he's one of these people that were a huge part of this European teenager making a massive cultural transition, not just from half the globe away to America, but to the NBA. And did Luka listen to everything Casey said? Clearly not. I mean, Luka wasn't asking about his dinner order. I can promise you that. But they had a great relationship. And Luka didn't just like the guy. He didn't just think, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. He respected him. He trusted him. And to pull him out of the equation had massive ramifications. And then after last season's finals run, they also fired Jeremy Holsapple, their longtime strength coach. Similar relationship with Luka, trust, respect. And Casey Spangler, their manual therapist, their massage guy. And so what Nico did was he eliminated people who were like inner circle people that Luka had a great deal of comfort with, and replaced them with Nico's guys. So you replace Luka's guys who were with the franchise before Luka all the way throughout with people he doesn't know, he doesn't trust. And all of this did play in to the fraying of relationship between Luka and Nico.
Tim, was that on purpose by Nico? Because typically you don't see like trainers, strength coaches, equipment managers. These are like what they call nonpartisan positions. Like they just change over with administration after administration, unless there's just been a massive breakdown in like, oh my God, people are getting hurt left and right, or equipment's going out the back door, or whatever it is. That's the only time usually you see changes in those departments.
Yeah, like I said, there's certainly been a trend of Nico hiring his own people, and the firing of Casey was shocking throughout the league and certainly within the organization. I mean, he was so inner circle. When you have Donnie Nelson get fired and then Rick Carl resign, which by the way were two unrelated events that happened within days. When that happened, Cuban puts together an advisory committee, kind of an unofficial advisory committee, just of people who he knows have the best interests at heart that he trusts. It's Dirk, it's Michael Finley, it's Don Kalkstein, who's a longtime sports psychologist, Keith Grant, who retired a couple of years ago, but literally began as a ball boy and equipment manager, was with the franchise all the way through assistant general manager for many years, and Casey Smith. So like literally one of the 5 people who Cuban trusted the most, but this is not Mark Cuban's Dallas Mavericks. These have become Nico Harrison's Dallas Mavericks, and that's a big part of what we saw go down this year.
Do you guys remember, was it Matt Doherty? He was the first coach after Dean Smith at North Carolina.
Well, it was Bill Guthridge, then it was Matt Doherty, yeah.
Well, yeah. Bill Guthridge was interim, right? So Doherty comes in, and Doherty was a Carolina guy. Obviously, he'd been coaching at Notre Dame, but he was a Carolina guy, went there. Everyone was like, okay, cool, we'll keep it in the family. We'll keep this thing going. And from what I understand, the first salvo of like, get this motherfucker out of here was when he fired Ruthie or whatever her name was. She was Dean Smith's admin and been the admin there for like 50 years, right? This kindly old lady. And he's like, he fired her and he brought in his own like admin. And everyone who tells me about that, like who's around that time, is like, that's what we knew. He's done. like it's little things like that. Just, it's amazing how much, I won't say power, because these people don't have power, but an impact on the internal kind of political dynamics of an organization. You can't just get rid of someone like that. Particularly Casey, because like man said, like this dude, if he's not one, he's top 3 for sure. He's Team USA's athletic trainer.
And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Nico Harrison and Kobe were pretty tight.
Oh yeah?
Really?
Yeah, it's a little fact.
Fill us in there.
Kobe was among the many, many, many Team USA players who loved Casey. Like, when the Lakers and Mavericks played, Kobe would always, him and Casey would always like do a little rap and dap post game and talk. And like, so not only do you have 2 decades worth of Dallas Mavericks that really, liked and respected this guy, but I think it was 08 and 12 were the Olympic years that he was Team USA's head athletic trainer. All those guys loved him too. And I've never really gotten a straight answer on why he was fired. I know he was told that it was because he was too negative. And I know that people I've talked to say that's a translation for you're not a yes man.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Michael Finley, that moment after the Western Conference Finals, when he takes Luka's beer away from him in the celebration in the locker room, you're watching that and saying, what? Like when you're seeing that clip come across, you're like, oh yeah, that Finn's been doing that for a while. Or were you like, they did that in front of the cameras? Really?
So I laughed when I saw it, and I thought it was funny. And I think that was the general reaction. And now you've got people that are trying to kind of put a lot of meaning into that moment. I don't think it meant that much. I really don't. Now, first of all, it wasn't like there was a lot of cameras there. I don't think Finley even was aware that it was being recorded. Right? It's one guy with a little cell phone, kind of fading into the wall type of thing. And I think, I've never even asked Finley about this or Luka. I can tell you this: Luka and Finley were cool before that. Were cool after that. I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth. I don't think Michael Finley was in love with the idea of trading Luka Doncic. I'll put it like that and feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship was definitely not an issue. I think they've had a very good relationship. I think this is just Finley. My read on was just Finley saying, "Hey man, like you don't need to be drinking a beer out in the hallway where we can see you. Like let me just grab that. You know, there's beers in the back. If you want a beer, well, they'll be on ice. Don't worry." But I don't think Finley was trying to make any kind of bold statement. Like it ain't like Finley grabbed that beer, didn't think Luka was going to be able to get his hands on another one all night.
Right. That's the confusing thing to me is like he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA who makes gajillion dollars a year. He's 24, 25 years old at that point. And his dad's right there. So it's not like
his dad's right there when he has a lot of beers.
So I guess as people are untangling the web of why Luka Doncic got traded, you're ranking that moment very far below on like the moments that things change.
The post Western Conference title beer, I'm not ranking it as no, like that's not on the list. Now, a lot of other beers, sure.
Never one beer.
But as a symbolic moment of
listen, do you think Luka Doncic is the first guy who's enjoyed a post-game beer or 6? It's funny, like when Patrick Dumont brought up this list of legends who were all about work ethic, like the fact he included Shaq on the list was just hilarious. But you don't think Larry Bird used to throw down beers?
Oh my God.
I mean, are you kidding me? So the issue is not that Luka likes to drink a beer or several. The issue has been that Luka his weight fluctuates and he tends to get heavy. He's got a body that puts on weight quickly. And like the guy led the league in scoring and usage rate last year, playing a ton of minutes and gained weight during the season. So those things are part of the concerns. The fact he's had now 4 calf strains and at the time of Christmas, a span of 28 months, that's a related concern. But again, we can go down the list of concerns and you have to look at the production and say, okay, like pros and cons, damn, there's a lot of production here, a lot of pros here.
And particularly, Tim, it's the return, right? If they gotten someone back who was a model of consistency, of health, then I think people may still disagree, but they walk away feeling a little better about this. I saw a lot of people jump up to the defense of Anthony Davis after the deal. Like, he's not chopped liver. I'm like, I don't think any of us are calling him chopped liver. We understand he's a great player, but the idea is I'm trading this guy because I can't trust if he's going to be healthy enough. You can't then turn around and trade for someone whose biggest knock has been he's never healthy enough. And in addition to that, not mitigate that risk with, all right, well, here's 3 first-round picks.
And he's 6 years old. But look, yes, Anthony Davis is a top 75 all-time player who, if he never plays another second, will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
And is still, as you saw in his first half in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, still a dominant force.
Right.
Now, in the opening minutes of his second half in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, you saw him go down. He just got back on the court, whatever it was, 6 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luka, he was hurt at the time of the trade. So, yeah, your big concern is Luka's durability and you're afraid his body's going to break down. Unfortunately, Anthony Davis also does have a significant history of durability issues, was injured at the time of the trade, and clearly came back from that too early because he suffered a related injury in his very first game back, and he's 6 years older. So then, and that's where when you really start looking at like, and like you said, Pelinka had a pick and a swap and Dalton Connect and a bunch of stuff left in his pocket. When you really start looking at it, though, you use Nico's own words. You created a 3 to 4 year time frame. You traded a guy who at the time was 25 and was 5-time first-team All-NBA. Like, dude, there are no-brainer Hall of Famers who are not 5-time first-team All-NBA in their entire careers. This guy's done it at 20, before what should be his prime years. So there's a lot of reasons to poke holes in the logic of making the trade, period, and certainly the process of making the trade. And I would argue the fear of the Supermax as an investment in Luka. Because to me, if you're going to trade Luka Doncic, what's the hurry? Get him locked up on a Supermax. Do it this summer. Got to keep him another year. So, okay, you're stuck with him for another year and a half. Damn, maybe you'll make a finals or two, maybe not. If you still feel this way, I don't care if you got a serious injury even. If he's locked up long term and you can announce, bring us the highest bids, you got the biggest bidding war in NBA history. And just look at Kevin Durant's injury history in his 30s and look at the haul that the Suns got in return for him. To me, if you're going to trade Luka, you've got to maximize the return. And by having to feel like, oh, top secret, nobody can know, you automatically depress the value.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew, too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac Extra Value Meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
At Starbucks, we've more than doubled parental leave for full and part-time baristas, giving them up to 18 weeks of paid time off, so they can be there for early bedtimes, late nights, first laughs, and spend more time with the best company they know. At Starbucks, benefits like parental leave are just the start. Learn more about Starbucks industry-leading benefits at starbucks.com/partners.
This episode is brought to you by Contentful. Marketers, you know that feeling when your creative clicks? When that social post sends engagement through the roof? When your outside-of-the-box campaign hits ROI positive? When a personalized homepage turns prospects into customers? It's utter marketing bliss. Contentful helps you create tailored omni-channel experiences without working overtime. No stress, no limits, only possibilities. Get the feels at Contentful.com.
I want to transition here to the Grizzlies situation because there's similarities about coaching staff changes that kind of foreshadow later changes. So the Memphis Grizzlies with Taylor Jenkins, who's the only coach that Ja Morant has had his entire coaching staff, or not the entire thing, but basically the majority of his coaching staff.
Over a 2-year cycle,
yeah, whole thing out. I mean, how often does that happen where a head coach stays on, but they flush out his entire coaching staff underneath him? That to me is already a harbinger for like, well, this guy.
Let me be clear. It happens when they want to fire the coach down the line. That's when it happens. That there's no other time where it's like, maybe if you had different assistants, this thing will be better. And like, oh, you know what? I'm glad we did that change. That never happens.
In this case, it's okay. Hey, we're going to make major offensive system overhauls. And so you got to fire all your coaches. You can be involved in the interview process, but we're bringing in new guys. And then we're going to have them implement their offense. And what happens is they brought in 2 guys in particular, Tuamasi Asalo, which I think I pronounced that correctly. The Grizzlies actually sent me a clip of him saying his name so I could try to get it right. The Finnish dude who was at Harris basketball last year. And then you bring in Noah LaRoche, who was a consultant for the Spurs, but is like a skills trainer, and they both have very interesting, unique offensive ideas that didn't mesh. And so then you've kind of got this tug of war, the offensive philosophical tug of war, and it's not mean-spirited or anything. It's not like contentious. but you've got very different offensive philosophies there's a tug of war within the coaching staff underneath the head coach who's not his staff and they're not his ideas. Yeah. Around the league, it was assumed that this was it for Taylor Jenkins. It was just assumed it would be at the end of the season and not with 9 games to go in the regular season, especially with the Grizzlies, as messy as it's been there since the All-Star break. They were still tied for 4th in the West at the time this happened.
This is what gets me, man. This is what gets me. You lose Ja Morant for 30 games. Your record is you're still in the thick of it with the Western Conference. If I had told you that Ja Morant was going to miss the 30 games this year due to injury, and Brandon Clark would be out for the season, they've gotten some good minutes from him this year. But Memphis would be in the running for and had the 2 seed for a considerable amount of time this year. And you would have told me that Taylor Jenkins would be fired mid-season. I would have thought you're nuts. Like, the guy is not perfect, but he's 30. No Ja Morant for half the season, and they're still performing at this level.
Tom, I think you're going about it the wrong way. I'm not even saying he's justified in keeping his job or fire his ass, whatever. I'm saying, what was it about him that they were so optimistic 6 weeks ago? But now, like, oh my God. No. Like, clearly, like, this is my thing. That's what I always hate about NBA front offices. Clearly, you don't like the guy. Clearly, you are doing everything to undermine him. Why, like that, as they come out of the All-Star break and things aren't going as swimmingly as everyone thought they should, right? Why don't they make the switch then? What, with 9 games to go, do they believe they are achieving? I saw Zach Kleiman's statement where he talks about, we're about urgency here. I beg to differ, sir. I don't think you're about urgency if you're waiting until 9 games left to fire your coach.
Well, I would say at the All-Star break, their record was very good. It's not been good since then. Frankly, I think that, not to put words in Zach Kleiman's mouth, but his actions would indicate that this was all leading up to Taylor Jenkins being fired at the end of the season. And I think Kleiman reached a point where it's like, why wait until we meekly exited the first round? Let's do something now and see if it can spark some kind of late in the season turnaround. And it's been the other thing, like, honestly, there's 2 shocking things. One, the timing of the firing, right? That it didn't wait till the end of the season, did it 9 games left. Maybe the more shocking development was that Noah LaRoche also got fired.
That's what I was going to ask you about, Tim, because that seems discordant with what the narrative is. That
flies in the face of everything that you've done. His fingerprints were on the offense more than Isalo's. God damn it. The Finnish dudes.
The Finnish dude. Yep.
Hold on. I'm gonna find.
Let's hear it. Can you give us the recording?
We're going to give one accurate pronunciation of the guy's name here.
Tuomas Iisalo.
Iisalo.
Ooh.
Iisalo.
That is how you pronounce the guy's name. I got to work on it. Tuomas Iisalo.
There's a couple extra vowels at that beginning there.
Yeah.
It's tough.
That's a hard one.
Anyway, my point is this. Noah LaRoche's fingerprints were more on the offense than his. And by the way, they're 6th in the league in offense. And for a lot of these season, they were better than that. Playing the fastest pacing league, all those, and setting the fewest running the fewest ball screens and dribble handoffs in second set spectrum tracking history. Now, you know who didn't love that?
Yeah.
Mr. Morant.
The guy who's used to having the keys, having the rock in his hands and running the show. Hey, and they started kind of leaning back into that, over the recent months, like the pick and roll stuff has gone way up. Here's a little secret though, fellas. Ja Morant's career pick and roll numbers are pretty mediocre.
Not great.
To describe it friendly. 39th out of 56 in high volume pick and rolls efficiency, during the course of his career. So the offense was better, but their franchise player didn't like it. And so Noah LaRoche, who got a 7-figure salary as a second row assistant, that never happens.
Second row?
Yes. Second row, fingerprints all over the offense. Basically, it was his offense. He got fired in the first year of his deal. Like, that to me is more shocking even than the timing of letting Taylor Jenkins go.
I'm flabbergasted, man. I'm flabbergasted. For someone who doesn't even sit at the front of the bench to be given that kind of responsibility and that kind of salary,
right?
To call that unheard of.
And then to get let go 6 months ago, you were confident enough to give him that kind of deal on a second row.
That's the consistent thread.
And I think you'd have to argue, just looking at straight numbers, his offensive system was good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how good your system is. If the face of the franchise isn't on board, you've got two choices. Change the system or trade the face of the franchise. And clearly they want to change the system because they don't want to trade Ja Morant.
Okay, to that point, this is where I'm starting, little dots are connecting in my head, right? So they hand a job over to Thomas Isalo.
You need to connect a razor to that head and that face, but go on.
Look, man, I'm doing a thing here, right?
I would recommend it's uglier than your jump shot. Go on.
Don't you start with me.
I started.
Don't you start with me, man. Before I see you out there huffing and puffing on the court.
Oh, you saw me little Euro step, reverse finish. Oh, come on now. I was nice that night.
Almost died, by the way, doing it.
Did I finish? Okay. Go on.
Finish the game or finish the play?
Both.
Isalo, this is his first year in any NBA capacity, on an NBA bench, right? He comes not from a grand tradition at Armani Milano or Barcelona or Galatasaray, but in the German league, in the Finnish league, won the Basketball Champions League.
Paris basketball last year.
Run by whom?
David Kahn.
David Kahn. Yeah.
He won like the BCL, which a lot of people haven't heard of, rightfully so. That's why FIBA is getting into bed with the NBA to make a league over there. He's won the Euro Cup, which is the little brother kind of NIT for the Euro League. So not a grand tradition of winning, not a grand tradition of coaching players that NBA players have heard of, and zero tradition of coaching over here. What are the odds that even though he's been with the team since camp, what are the odds that the team is going to take to him like white on rice?
Well, it's a challenging situation for him to take over for sure. And how much can you even put your fingerprints on something when you've got 2 weeks left in the regular season?
Another reason not to do this move now, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, having said that, how much did the Grizzlies think of him? They paid a 7-figure buyout to have the right to pay him a 7-figure salary. You think the investment in Noah LaRoche was deep pocketed, especially for a small market franchise. It was even deeper than that. And look, he hadn't coached, like you said, at the highest levels of Europe, but he had definitely carved out a reputation as one of the brightest basketball minds, especially the brightest offensive minds in Europe. But very interestingly, he is talking to people who know him and his style, it's a very creative pick and roll based system. So you made all those investments in him and you put him as the lead assistant, but you're running Noah LaRoche's stuff from the second row, which is very, very different. And Taylor Jenkins just kind of stuck in the middle. He's supervising, two chefs that are on making different recipes. Again, the face of the franchise would much rather be running pick and roll than he would all this off ball cutting and movement and hold on, I'm not allowed to dribble it. What's going on?
Yeah, I would say at best, this sounds like a real passive aggressive person's dream of how to handle change in an organization. At worst, they set this whole shit up from the beginning.
Setup is aggressive. I do think that logically, when you got a guy's staff and you bring in people who he has no history with, and you turn over the offense to two different people working supposedly under him with very different philosophies, that it's setting up the coach to fail. And Taylor Jenkins, by the way, winningest coach in Memphis history. Was he perfect? No. Did he have a really good run with Grizzlies? Absolutely.
They had the 6th best net rating in the NBA. 6th best with 30 games without Ja Morant. I mean, that is a success story.
As other jobs come open, Taylor Jenkins should absolutely be top of the list of candidates. I don't think he'll be unemployed for long.
Does Ja Morant have a list? Does he have a coach of his dreams that he wants in for the Memphis Grizzlies? Or is Zach Kleiman looking at this and saying, this guy, to almost Yamali?
Isalo.
Is that the guy? Like, is that the guy that's going to make Ja Morant do backflips and say, I'm sticking here, I've got several years left in my contract? Or is this a De'Aaron Fox situation where it's like, you can bring in Doug Christie, ain't going to change how I feel about the direction of this franchise, and I want out?
So Ja has never certainly publicly muttered anything about wanting out. Intel from other teams around the league was that he was not happy. And there was an anticipation that the Grizzlies would kind of be pressured to shop him this summer. This is a move that kind of flies in the face of that. This is a move that is made to try to, as it was put to me, optimize Ja Morant. This is a move that is an indication, and again, I'm talking more the firing of LaRoche than Taylor Jenkins. This is a move that tells you that the Grizzlies front office is making decisions based on what's best for Ja Morant, because they believe what's best for Ja Morant is ultimately what's best for the Grizzlies organization. So take that for what it's worth.
Man, I mean, investing 7 figures into a coach, second row, whose offensive philosophy is egalitarian, movement, touch the ball for less than a second, and keep rotating. That doesn't sound like one that you would install with Ja Morant as the face of your franchise.
Well, and it worked statistically.
So
But it doesn't matter if it's one thing for it to work on the floor. It's another thing if it's not working in the locker room, especially in the most important corner of the locker room.
I love it. It's not working, and our best player doesn't like it. Taylor, get the fuck out of here, man. Get your shit. I done told you about this shit enough times. It's like, it wasn't my idea, man.
I don't know if the meeting went exactly like that.
You fire a dude 9 games left when you're 44 and whatever they are, and you're battling for 4th. That is an unequivocal get your shit and get the fuck out of here. There's no, oh man, I wish or whatever. There's no, they lost 6 out of 8 games coming out of the All-Star break, including a drubbing to the Thunder. That's when, if you had druthers then, that's when you get rid of them. Anytime after that, now you're just messing around. At this point, you let them finish because that's the way shit gets done. There's a protocol in this league. It's not written down, but that's how you handle these things. It's different, but also not that much different from when the Suns fired Earl Watson 2 weeks in the season. I don't give a shit if he was the worst coach ever, his ideas or whatever. Other than something happening that's untoward, there's no basketball reason to go through all draft, free agency, summer league, off-season, pickup games, camp, preseason, and then 2 weeks in, I don't think he's the guy. When did you get that fucking idea? You just got it now? You're just as bad as he is if he's that bad, right? If you just got that idea now, it's the same thing here. It's flipped because the Grizzlies are good. It's flipped because it's at the end of the year. But unless there is an actual non-basketball reason to make a change, you said, to save them from a whimpering first round exit. Guess what the fuck they're headed for, man? They're not. What do we look at these guys? Oh my God, they're gonna give teams a run for their money. Ain't no offense, ain't no coaching switch this late is gonna change any of that. They're full of shit, and I'm sick of it. And you know what? Another thing, I've been waiting to unload this conspiracy theory for quite a while.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, here we go. Buckle in.
When I think it was Howard Beck, right after All-Star break, talked about the first superstar that might be on the move.
It was.
The next domino, if you will, is Ja Morant. Zach Kleiman came out with this big-ass essay about they hate us because we're small market and da-da-da-da-da. I never want to hear no small market team talk shit for the rest of your life because them the people that paid seven figures for a second row behind the bench coach to hand over the keys to the offense only to fire him 60 games in, blaming him while giving the keys to another guy. Like, clearly, being a small market team has not taught you guys anything about frugality or keeping things like within reasonable financial kind of expectations. I don't want to hear none of it.
What was the conspiracy, though?
The conspiracy is that they're going to trade Ja.
Listen.
All of these things are just the smoke screen. Oh, no, we're not going to trade Ja, and now they're going to trade him.
Whispers around the league aren't always accurate, but there have been a lot of whispers around the league about Ja, Memphis, and just how much longer that may or may not last.
Well, we're not going to dismiss you like Zach Kleiman and Amin's head dismissed Taylor Jenkins.
I will. Get the fuck out.
We can do it a little bit more cordially. Bam McMahon, baddest dude in all the land, also baddest author in all the land. Congratulations on the book, The Wonder Boy. Go grab one and read this. I'm excited that there's this collectible out there in the market.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
The pre-trade book, you know?
Worth way more, Tim.
Hopefully there's not a whole lot left of those, so we'll see.
It's rare.
It's like those Rangers Tetas hats, right? With the T in the middle. That shit is
All right.
gonna be on eBay going for $1,000.
Enough. No more Amin.
Yep, that's it. That's it for Tim.
That's it. Thank you, Tim.
Yo, in summation, if I ever have to come to my ownership to ask for 7 figures for someone to sit in the second row of my bench, they ought to fire my ass right there on the spot. I'm just going to throw that out there. If I have to go back and ask ownership to buy out a dude who's making 7 figures on the second row of my bench, they need to fire me and my firstborn. Whatever my firstborn is doing in life, you lost your job too. Sorry, should have chosen a better dad. Are you fucking kidding me? God damn it, man. This is the shit that makes me hate the NBA, for real.
Only because you're not getting one of these second row assisted.
Of course, I did this shit.
That's what you're upset about.
Dude, I sat there. I made $50,000, if that.
5 figures.
If that.
And you were the assistant of player development with no director.
I was assistant director of basketball operations. There was no director of basketball operations. And you're telling me I made at the least 20 times less than some asshole who sits on the second row of the bench who got fired 60 games in? Fuck me, man. Fuck this league.